Good afternoon from the Hearts at War project. Here is a short video as part of a series looking at some of the artifacts that we've have on display here at the exhibition. So what we have in front of us here is a very nice First World War French phrase book for daily use by British soldiers. So it says this particular one was compiled by Frank Scudamore, the late war correspondent of the Times and the Daily something, can't quite read that there, the Daily News, and it was threepence when it was bought. So very nice London produced pamphlet. So let's have a quick look inside. Now, really interesting thing, as well as being a very nice piece of history, this is also got a fantastic personal history, particularly related to one Ted Ambrose, who served with the Bedfordshire Regiment in the Great War and went out to the Somme in 1916 and was very sadly killed in the second week of July of that year, was mortally wounded, I should say, on the 9th and died just 3 days later. The interesting thing about this is this belonged to Ted, and all his items after he died were packaged up and sent back home to his mother, who couldn't bear to see them and locked them away for some 98 years until we received a phone call asking if we wanted to go and have a look at these items. And as the cigarettes, another video that we've done recently, just like the cigarettes, this came from the collection of items related to Ted Ambrose. So one of the fantastic things about it, and this is really, it's amazing to think that this stuff went on 100 years ago, and as an 18-year-old you can imagine Ted there, a bit bored, thinking of things to draw. So he tries drawing his Bedfordshire Regiment cap badge, and gets stuck trying to draw the stag in the middle, the heart, which of course he gave up on. So either way, you can imagine him just sitting around doodling, perhaps in the trenches. And as we move through, obviously you have various different phrases. I want, the French je veux, and spoken thus, the phonetic, which is always great to have a look at, is je veux, and it goes all the way through. Sugar, for example, du sucre, or du sucre, if you use the spoken thus column. And again, you can see that Ted was clearly somewhere near a farm, or it's drawn a weather vane that he's been looking at the time. So it's really is a nice item. Sadly, we don't think Ted would have had much chance to really to utilise this. As I say, he was only in France for a few months, and his war was very short. And the final page there is another attempt to draw the Bedfordshire Regimental cap badge. But a nice piece of history, not only because of its its overall what it says about life for the average Tommy out in a country that he'd probably almost certainly never visited before, but also how this particularly related to Ted's wartime experiences. So there we are. That's Parlez-vous. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.